Good morning, everybody. Today's video is going to be watercolor. We're going to do a galaxy and some planets and just kind of have fun. This has a lot of supplies, so we're going to cover that first. We'll start off with the paper. I'm using Canson watercolor. You can use any watercolor paper that you like. Canson is not my favorite. I use the Strathmore, but where I get that, they did not have 11 by 15 paper. So I just bought the Canson because I like it okay. It just doesn't do as good. Let's see. We're going to have a this is a Neopic number 10. You can barely see that. Round brush. You're going to want your 240. This is a Windsor Newton. You can get these in whatever brand, I'm sure. This is just a mop brush. This is to get your paper good and wet. This one is goat hair, so it sucks and holds the water really, really well. A little tiny fan brush. I just realized I need a round brush of some sort and a much smaller one. Let's see. This is a Martscape. It's a number 1 round brush. I try to keep all my little tiny detail brushes in their original little thing. Kind of keeps your hair from fraying out. As you can see, this is well loved and well used. This is Black Gold by Dynasty. It's a number 36 round brush. I use this one anytime I do my outer space ones. I'm going to use a Graph Gear number 3 pencil. I'm going to use a good old-fashioned toothbrush, whatever brand you have. That's for our stars. I am using a template, a circle template. A compass would work, whatever you have will work. This video may come in 2 parts because if not, it's going to be a long one. So I'm going to try to do it quickly. An eyedropper, if you have one. If not, you can use one of your little round brushes for the step where we're going to use the eyedropper. You want some just regular alcohol, just rubbing, first aid rubbing alcohol. I put it in a little bitty container like this so that I keep it separate from my water because it has magic effects and you don't want to use it in place of water. I'm using my Master's Touch Premium Watercolor in Chinese white. You can use any white. I just have, as you can see, this is my gouache white. I have used up all of my Arteza white, so this is the Hobby Lobby brand, and they have their watercolor tubes in bigger tubes, which I love. We are using, the rest of these are Arteza. You can get them in one big set. I will put the set on, I think it's 60 colors. That's an enormous amount of paint and some fantastic colors. They even have in that 60 for the gouache and the watercolor. They have like one tray, I think, in there is pearl colors. So kind of fun. You could use those in a space scene. That would be really fun. I'm not sure how to say this. It's Phthalo. So that blue. I'm not sure how to say that. I always say Pathos blue, but it's not that. let's see, what is this one? This one is lilac, a lilac purple. You want it to be a bright purple when you put this one on, because your blues are going to be so dark that you need your purple to be bright and stand out. We're going to use indigo and a very small amount of neon pink, because this neon pink is so neon pink. I'll show you my tray over here. Like, very neon. And when you put water with that, it's even more neon. So we don't want a lot of neon. In our gouache colors, we're going to use noir, which is black, gray, and my well-used lid gets stuck on white. So that's our supplies: water and my palette paper, and I have used washi tape for making some borders because I like a border on my space scenes, because it makes all the dark kind of pop off the paper. So, okay, let me sort this all back out real quick. Also, on your little tiny brushes, just a tip, brushes like these, the big brushes, I have done it many times, but these little ones like this, try not to leave these in your water. Rinse them really good, dry them off really good, get their shape back, and put them away, because if you leave them standing in water, your tips will get a bend in them. Like, as you can see, this one has a bend to it. I'm okay with that bend in this one because I use it a lot bent that way. So you really don't want to leave any of your brushes in water, but if you accidentally do, it's okay. You really don't with your detail brushes, because then when you go to do something really tiny and you need that really straight line, it's all bent. Okay, and I have 2 mason jars of water. One is for rinsing your brush, one is for clean water. They will never stay that way on my desk. I start out having one to rinse my brush and one for water, and I end up using both of them to rinse my brush. So I can't tell you to follow that rule, because I myself am really bad about it. So you want to use we're going to use our mop brush first, and we're going to get this wet. When I say wet, I mean like really wet. And it's your paper. You can tape your paper down really tight to the table, but I have found that mine still wrinkles even if I tape it down, so I just let it do its thing. Now I'm going to put a little tiny bit of landscape at the bottom when we're close to being done with this, so I'm not going to go all the way down with my outer space. Normally, I do this step right here, and then I go about getting my paint and brushes and my palette paper and let that soak into the paper a little bit. But today we're just going to go ahead and do this step. So this is a wet on wet technique. You want it to be wet. Now the Strathmore paper, when you use it, tends to soak the water in a little bit better, and it gets wrinkled. It wants to wrinkle in waves. This one wants to just wrinkle totally rounded, so that makes all your paint roll off the edges. So it can be an annoying step, but it is necessary. So you can try putting your paper down really tight. You do not want to pick up color with your mop brush, so I always lay it out of my way, because as you can see, I also put it in water that had blue in it, and it really picked up the color. So you don't want to do that. Okay. I also have a regular old spray bottle to spray water on my paints so I can control how much water I have there. And we are going to start with the, however you say that. I'm going to call it Pathos Blue, but that is absolutely not how you say that. It is very dark. It's fantastic for night skies. You can mix a tiny bit of black in with it. I just like it the color that it is because it does go on so dark. Now, when I do my outer space, in order to get some texture in there, you want to kind of put it on like this, because as you can see, when you do this, you get a lot of dark spots and you get a lot of light spots. So you want to put it on. And I always like the top of my, I like these top corners really dark. And this is what, in the end, when this dries, all these little marks you're making like this is what gives you that kind of I don't know, cloudy, there's stuff out there in space look. And as it sits there and dries, you can go back in there and make it look like. Now, don't do this spot. You want to leave some white right here because that's going to be our galaxy. So try not to get your paint in there until you're ready to get it in there. If you have your paint too soupy, it will bleed right in there, but a little bit of bleeding is okay because you're going to want a little bit of this blue in there anyway. So you need to figure out how your little galaxy there is going to look. I'm adding in some indigo now. And you really can't tell much difference, but when you dry, you will see the difference in this. Actually, this may have been the Pathos Blue, but they're so close. Indigo and that one are so close, and you can use different blues in here. Just want to keep them in the darker shades. You don't want like super bright blue in your and then when you get down here, you want to kind of keep that horizon line. So this is the start of your outer space. Now right here, you want some of this blue to go in there. So you can just kind of like put a little bit of it in there. And see how this blue right here is already highlighted? Just kind of put some dark. This is the dark matter that you hear about, I guess. I don't know. I kind of pretend things when I and I have it a little bit lighter down here. I do want to add just a little bit more, but you do want it to go from really, this is really outer space, and this is down here where the city lights are. So you want this end to be a little bit lighter than your top. So I'm going to rinse all that blue out, and I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pick up my number 10 and go in here with some clean water. Y'all, I already have blue in my I already have blue in my clean water. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of purple here, and we're going to mix it in here. And as you can see, this is like just kind of, that water and that paint are going to spread out, and it's going to give you that. And over here, I'm going to mix this with the blue that's already on my paper. I already really love this spot, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I feel like my white is drying out just a little bit there. And in which case, you can pick up your spray bottle, and a spray bottle is fantastic to have when you're doing this kind of painting. A spray bottle is really good to have, and right at this point, if you spray way up, I'm holding this up above the phone right now, and you give it a spray, do you see what happens when the water hits? You get some stars. So every now and then you want to just kind of give it a quick mist so we can get some distant stars. Now, I hate how this is running over here because it's gonna dry like weird, but it's just what my paper wants to do. Let's see if I can, there we go. I want it all to run this way. So I'm really needing some more water on that white. So I'm gonna get a little on my brush and just go in here and hit my white again. And if you have stuff like right here in your white that you don't want there, you can get a brush with water on it, and not tons of water, and just move that off the paper. But I'm really liking how that looks right there. So I'm gonna get my hot pink. Remember, you don't want a ton of this pink. And I think I want just like some highlights to this. These little cloud banks here. I love having it really wet because you can see how it spreads out, and it looks all cloudy, and it gives you that outer space effect. And now I'm going to add some white, and white kind of does a magic thing when you add it to wet paint. It really likes to creep and crawl and spread out and make cool. I'll get it over here and see what it does. I just want to add some to tone down this pink, but I love how this makes like the cloudy Milky Way. Oh, I like to drag it out here in the wet blue. I'm about to have to add some more. I want to tone that pink down just a little bit. I need some more water because I'm going to use my alcohol here in just a minute. I want to pick up a little bit of that blue. And just mix the blue back in here in some of this. Okay, I really like that. So we're just going to leave that just like that. And now I'm going to do something really magic. this is the alcohol and your eyedropper, and you want to get a tiny bit in there, and you want your paint to be wet when you do this, but not like this is almost too wet, but we're going to do it here anyway. But I especially want it out here, and you want to just drop drops on your wet paint. And if it's too dry, it won't work. I kind of like that many. You can do as many as you want. These are going to eventually be our planets, so some of our planets are distant planets. Now, I really love what this is doing right here with the little bit of pink in there. And so we're going to pause the video a moment and get this dry. I hope, because it's really wet. I want to hit this blue part with just a little bit more. I don't know if you can see what's going on right here, but this is going to end up being really cool. You could use this to be a starburst. Sometimes when you're doing this, big drops of water come out, and what they do to the paint is really, really cool in the end result. So don't freak out if you get a great big drop of water on there. I love this. This is working really cool. So I'm gonna pause this. I'm not sure how long it'll let me pause, but I'm gonna try to get this dry really quick and then come right back and we'll pick up from here. So step one, this is your outer space, and then we'll be right back.